girlfriend and her family don't want me around during the family vacation because her ex will be there, but I broke up with her and her life couldn't be any more miserable. I'm 37 and I've been dating this woman, 32, let's call her Amelia, for more than 5 years, and I've known her for 8. She used to work at the company when we met at a work event, and we even worked together for a few months back then. At that time, she was dating her childhood best friend and I was casually seeing someone. Nothing happened between us, we just stayed connected on social media. 2 years later, we got the chance to work together again, and this time she was single. They had mutually broken up because he moved abroad for grad school and ended up staying there. I was single too, and after working together for a few months, one thing led to another. I asked her out, she said yes, and we started dating. I soon changed jobs because my company had strict rules against dating employees. It's been 5 years now, and we've been living together for 4, so there's nothing casual about our relationship. We've met each other's families. She often comes over to my parents' house, and they love her. But it doesn't work the same way with Amelia's family. I still feel disconnected from her parents, they're cold and odd. She comes from a family tradition where every year, they take a week-long vacation just with the immediate family. They were very strict about this. No boyfriends or girlfriends allowed, or at least that's what I was always told. She's always been excited about this trip. They've been doing it since they were little. Her 2 brothers and her father weren't exactly rolling in money, but he made sure they went on vacation every year. They continued the tradition even after they grew up and moved out, no matter where they were or what their situation was. Every year, they all traveled together. When she told me about it, I was fascinated. It's rare to see that kind of family bond these days. Up until this year, I didn't mind that she would go away and practically forget I existed. I gave her the space to have family time. But then it started to bother me. I mean, our relationship has gotten more serious. We haven't made it official with a wedding yet, but we're planning our future together, talking about commitment, finances, and other important stuff. I kept wondering, why do they still treat me like a stranger? We've been together for 5 years. Shouldn't I already be considered part of the family? A week ago, she took me to her parents' anniversary party, where everyone was excitedly talking about the upcoming trip. I asked for details and realized they weren't sharing all the info with me, especially her sister. I casually asked if I could join, and everyone unanimously said no, as if it were a huge problem. Obviously, I was embarrassed. Seeing how I reacted, her father tried to intervene, saying, "Don't get us wrong, you two haven't made it official yet. Relationships these days don't last long. We don't want to invest in yours before it's rock solid." I got the message he was trying to send, but its purpose wasn't clear. I mean, what's wrong with me joining and then breaking up later? It's not like these trips involve any secret activities that, if we broke up, they'd have to kill me to keep it under wraps. It felt like they didn't want me to know the details, as if I were some outsider who shouldn't know about their secret mission. Amelia was in the kitchen when this conversation happened. As soon as she got back, her sister told her with a self-satisfied face that I wanted to join the trip. To my surprise, Amelia got even more worked up than her family did. She looked at me in disbelief, like I'd committed some major crime. I tried to explain that I only asked if I could come along, not that I had packed my bags and was already waiting at the airport, and it was just a casual question. She immediately shut it down, genuinely surprised that I'd even ask, and said, "No, you can't come. This trip is strictly for the family. You're not part of it yet." It would have been one thing if her parents had said so, but it was different coming from my girlfriend, someone with whom I'm supposedly taking the next step. Am I not family yet? 5 years together and I'm still just some extra accessory or some casual fling. I didn't say anything else because I figured it wasn't worth arguing with someone who thought so little of me. I would never have said something like that to her, and my parents have always treated her like family from day one. Even so, this sparked a big argument at home because she wanted to hash it out when we got back. She accused me of ruining dinner, meant for her parents' anniversary, because I spent the rest of the night sulking. What did she expect? That I just sit there with a smile on my face while eating cake, pretending nothing was wrong? I don't think so. But since she brought up the trip again, I figured it was a good time to mention some of the things that seemed fishy about it. I found it all very mysterious. What exactly were they so jealously guarding? Did they dress in robes and worship some god I'd never heard of? Did they need to initiate me into this cult before letting me join the trip? Surprisingly, she sat down calmly and explained that it was a non-negotiable family time and they didn't want their partners to distract from their parents. To make me feel better, she even added that her sister's boyfriend wasn't allowed to come with them either. That really bothered me because Amelia's sister has never had a stable boyfriend, unlike me. Her relationships never lasted more than a year, and her current boyfriend has been around for only a few months. Yet, they compare me to her flings. Our fight got really ugly and I didn't want to continue, so I went to bed. It's been 2 days now and we aren't speaking. She tried several times to discuss the matter, but I refused to get involved. The problem isn't really about the trip anymore, it's about the way I'm being excluded. I know we're not officially engaged yet, but come on, we've been together for 5 years, doesn't that count for something? On top of that, there's something else that really bugs me: her ex's parents. Both families have been friends for decades, and her ex's parents always show up at these events. I've seen them at birthdays, family barbecues, Christmas dinners, her cousin's wedding, and even random weekend get-togethers. They're way more involved than I am, even though I'm her boyfriend. And as far as I remember, my in-laws aren't even married to them. It's so weird, right? I always get this uncomfortable vibe from their presence, but she insists that her past is behind her and that her family is just still friends with her ex's family, which has nothing to do with Amelia or her ex. Over all these years, her ex never showed up at any of these events and is out of the country. Maybe that's why I didn't make a huge fuss until now. I can't stop them from being friends with her ex's parents, but I don't feel comfortable with Amelia spending time with them. It feels kind of sick, because it seems like they haven't fully let go of that relationship yet. A relationship between Amelia and her ex. By the way, there was never any commitment, which is the rule that both her parents and Amelia always mention. It doesn't help that Amelia couldn't care less about what I think of all this, calling me ridiculous and paranoid. She says it's just a trip and I shouldn't make such a big deal out of it. But it seems like they're the ones making a big deal, because I only asked one question and they all flipped out. She tells me I have nothing to worry about, but it's having the opposite effect on me. I feel like I'm being manipulated. What do you all think? Am I going crazy? Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day. Update 1. It turns out I wasn't crazy. She's just a simple cheater. After spending some time in this community, I became convinced I couldn't let this slide. I told her that I wasn't comfortable being pushed aside, and that if she really cared about our relationship moving forward, then she and her parents needed to start treating me better. I basically gave her an ultimatum. It's either me with them or it's over. I didn't even want to go. I was just testing how far she'd be willing to go in putting our relationship ahead of her stupid vacation. She called me immature and tried to twist the situation back on me. I stood my ground, saying, "Call me whatever you want, but I'm not giving in." After several rounds of arguing, she finally agreed to talk with her parents about it. I thought, great, let's see what happens next. That night, while she left her phone unlocked and went to take a shower, I took the opportunity to snoop a bit. I didn't leave my fingerprints on her phone, but after a few tries I managed to guess her lock pattern. I'm not proud of what I did, but in the end, I'm glad because I discovered something really disturbing. I went straight to her family's group chat to see what they were talking about after our fight over the trip. Apparently, she had told them that I wanted to go, and her family got all worked up. Her mom responded with a firm, "No, you need to stop him. He can't come, he's going to ruin everything." At that point, All my wild theories about some satanic cult started to gain traction, and I began to think that pushing too hard might have been a bad move. Maybe they'd even use me as a sacrifice. My girlfriend told them that I was becoming a nuisance and that I wanted to break up if they didn't listen to her. To that, her sister replied with a, "Good for you," accompanied by a bunch of confusing emojis. I have no idea what they were supposed to mean. Then there was a message where she said, "I can't do this, I'm happy with him," and her dad replied, "You promised you'd try. Make a decision after the trip." I didn't completely understand the conversation, so I snapped as many photos of it as I could to go over later. Next, my attention was caught by the trip itinerary her sister had shared. I quickly transferred it to my phone, then combed through her gallery, emails, and other folders, but couldn't find anything else. I made sure to delete all traces that I had tampered with her phone and left it as it was. Later, after she went to sleep, I opened up the trip itinerary and the hotel reservation. This is where things got ugly. They had booked 5 rooms. One in her parents' name, one for Amelia, one for her sister, one for Ryan, her ex, and one for his parents. So, her ex and his parents were going on the trip, but not me. The good news was that, at least, it wasn't some cult. My life wasn't in danger. But I knew exactly what these reservations meant. In case you haven't figured it out yet, my girlfriend planned to cheat on me during the trip, if she hadn't already, and the whole family was in on it and encouraging her. And no, Ryan isn't engaged to Amelia, so their rule only applies to me. I know everyone reacts differently to infidelity. Some people want to beat their partner up, others insult them, and some just want to run far away and never look back. Me, I just shut down emotionally. I wanted to get out of the relationship right then and there, but a part of me also wanted to hurt her as much as I felt wounded. So, I decided to stay silent and plan my revenge. Besides, since we were fighting anyway, it would be easier to act like nothing had happened. But it wasn't easy. Every time I saw her face, I felt sickened. The next day, after she left for work, I packed my essentials and checked into a hotel. I felt that I'd emotionally detached myself from this relationship. I wasn't thinking about her anymore. The way she handled the trip and how she pushed me aside made it even easier to end things. This harsh truth was the final nail in the coffin. I sent her a message saying I was going on a week-long work trip and that she could enjoy a peaceful vacation with her family. She didn't really question it, and instead replied with a love-filled voice message. It was probably for the best that I left on my own. I stayed at the hotel until she left. As soon as she was at the airport, I went back home, packed my stuff, and stored it in a storage unit. Then I returned to the hotel. During the first 4 days of her trip, I barely heard anything from her. No calls, just the occasional obligatory text like, "I miss you, honey, hope you're having a good week." But on the 5th day, she sent a long, emotional message about how much she loved me, how she couldn't wait to marry me, and how we were going to have kids. Over the next several hours, she bombarded my phone with calls and messages filled with romantic declarations of her so-called love. I mean, it's not rocket science to see that this woman doesn't really love me. I ignored it all. It meant nothing to me. They went on their trip for 7 days, but surprisingly on the 6th day I received a panic call, which I happily ignored. Then she sent me another voice message saying, "I'm home. Where the hell are you? Where are all your things?" She had gotten back a day early and was shocked to see the apartment empty. After dozens of messages and calls, I finally replied, "I left something for you on the kitchen counter." This wasn't a breakup letter. No, that would have been way too easy and boring. It was more of a demand notice. Every single penny I'd spent on her, gifts, jewelry, vacations, her share of the rent and bills for a few months. I itemized it all, even down to the damn perfume, and I demanded that she pay me back. I even added a note saying, "Maybe you could ask Ryan to help you out. I'm sure he wouldn't mind." After a while, long enough for her to read what I left, her next voice message was, "Please, give me a chance to explain, it's not what you think." I could hear her crying and begging in the message. After savoring that just a bit, I replied, settle the debt. If you have any self-respect at all. I know I can't legally demand that money, but emotionally, I sure can. She likes to brag about being an independent woman who can pay her own bills, so come on, pay up. She begged me to listen to her one last time before making any decisions, but I blocked her and said, I've said everything I wanted to say. From now on, I'm only checking emails regarding the money you owe me. Let's make this a professional relationship because what we had hardly qualifies as a romantic one. A week later, she sent me an email saying that she couldn't pay it all at once and needed more time. I replied, maybe you should put in some overtime or find a better job. So many vacations and yet you've neglected your career. Then there were a few days of silence. However, 2 days ago she sent me the full amount she owed, and suddenly I feel rich. You know what I'm going to do with that money? I'm heading to the Maldives. The amount covers a week-long luxury trip at a private resort on an island. You have no idea how happy and free I feel. Not only will I be on vacation, but it won't be with my ex or her family, a double win. My new vacation is still a month away. I couldn't swing last-minute airfare with what Amelia gave me, but I can wait a while for the trip. I know she expects us to talk now that she's returned the money, thinking it will soften me up and make me more willing to have a conversation. Maybe I told her I'd think about it in exchange for the money, but I never promised anything. She knows about my trip, so I'm not expecting any updates until after I'm back. Update 2. Here's an update on everything, with some clarifications. I'm not proud of everything I said or did, but after all the cheap insults I threw at her, I can't say I'm completely remorseful either. I'm not the type of person who abuses someone, but I'm also not the guy who just sits back and takes crap. I don't take pride in what I said, but she wasn't exactly a saint either. After returning from my vacation, I had a visit at my office. Yup, it was Amelia. She had been waiting for this conversation, but she was locked down and more concerned about my trip than having a chat with a cheater. So she came to my workplace, and I had no choice but to face her. I wanted to kick her out, but she begged for one last talk. Apparently, she wanted to confess something. Maybe having one final conversation would help both of us put an end to this. What I discovered, though, was the icing on the cake of my revenge. First, she confessed how she managed to pay back the money I demanded, since she didn't have much, especially after covering her family trip costs. She had to take out a loan. I don't think that's the main point, though, it's what comes next that really matters. According to her, the truth was that her ex had come back to town after being away, and her parents had been pushing her to give him another shot. He had returned from another country, successful and with a career he built, so he was exactly what her parents wanted. They organized the trip so she could clear her head and decide between us. Her parents are close friends with his, so everyone thought that the best thing for Amelia was to be with her ex. Can you believe what kind of family they are? She and her parents used me while her ex was away, and now that he's back, she's rethinking everything. I understand she can be with whoever she wants, and if she decided to leave me to go back to her ex, that was her right. But she had no right to lie to me and be unfaithful. I mean, she should have had a conversation with me before, not after the fact. She tried to put all the blame on her parents, saying they manipulated her into giving her ex another chance, but she went on that trip too, so she must have thought it was a good idea to give him a shot, even while she was with me. Even so, that doesn't make it okay now. I asked her, so why are you so desperate to confess all this? You did what you did, and that's it. She wanted to assure me that nothing happened between them, that they were just talking and figuring out if they could rekindle things. In her words, sure, she lied, but she didn't cheat. Why? Because there was no sex. Sure, maybe there was no sex, but the situation isn't any better. And I can't be expected to believe a woman like her. I laughed in her face and said, "You're kidding me, right? You went on vacation with your ex and now you're saying nothing happened. Do you really expect me to buy that crap? How old do you think I am?" She cried and confessed, I swear it was just a kiss. I was thinking about you the whole time. After being with him, I realized how loving and caring you are. I never meant to hurt you. I realized on that trip that I love you." Lies. She said she realized it on the 5th day of the trip. Was she thinking about me during the trip or just during the kiss? So many questions, and it certainly wasn't doing her any favors trying to get back together. I wasn't planning on getting back with her even before she gave me her side of the story, but her version made things even worse. Then she said something that explained everything. On the 5th day, she was shocked to see her sister kissing Ryan. That was what triggered the sudden outpouring of love for me. Like she discovered how much she supposedly loved me. No loyalty, no accountability. Just the fact that her ex was probably sleeping with his own sister. The message wasn't about loving me. It was because she had lost her first choice and now her second choice, simple, loyal, and reliable, was all that was left. The problem is, her second choice had already lost her before the trip, and she'd also lost the first one. The funny thing is, her sister and Ryan tried to justify it by saying it was just a casual makeout session, since Amelia still wasn't officially with him. Yeah, in that family, commitments and kisses work completely differently than in the rest of the world. I find the whole mess pretty amusing. Maybe because I'm seeing it from a distance. She begged me to give our 5 long years one last chance. I asked her, "Did you honor our relationship? If you had, you wouldn't have taken your parents' advice about going back with your ex. You should have told me as soon as your parents suggested it, but you kept it all hidden. I'm not buying your nonsense about being forced or tricked. What are you, a 5-year-old? No, you did it all knowing exactly what you were doing. You've made your choice, and I've made mine." She started crying and begged me to forget everything and start over. I told her, "It's too late, that ship has sailed." She grabbed my hands and pleaded for forgiveness. I said I needed to get back to work, and that was it. Later, I contacted her sister's boyfriend and told him everything. The guy came over and said he also thought the whole trip situation was super weird. The way they kept it all secret made it sound suspicious. He even thought they might be involved in some cult stuff. But, like me, he always thought it was a joke. Until now, it all makes sense. The guy had no idea that his girlfriend was sleeping with her ex, or at least, that's what we thought. He thanked me and said he was going to break up with her immediately. I told him, "Buddy, run as fast as you can. I don't know what's going to happen with you, but if you can get out of that crazy family, you're going to be a lot better off. Besides, I don't think I ruined things too badly for him. After all, Amelia's sister hardly ever keeps a boyfriend for long." Update 3. A few weeks later, I got a call from the guy who was dating Amelia's sister. He told me that Amelia's sister and Ryan are officially an item now. Wow, they sure moved fast. I feel bad for the guy, because I couldn't help but laugh when he told me. But in my defense, it's pretty hilarious how twisted things are in that family. And no, I wasn't laughing at him, just at the situation. I wonder if their parents are happy or pissed about it. I guess I'll never know. I can only imagine the misery Amelia must be in. Being with one guy when you really should have none. All because she cheated on her boyfriend and has a sister with, let's say, questionable taste in underwear. To this day, I think asking that question at dinner was the best thing that happened. It exposed the whole mess and has brought us to where we are now. At least this marks the end of my saga with my girlfriend's family, which I once thought was some kind of cult. Edit. I think I have the answer to the question I raised earlier in this update. Thanks to some mutual friends with Amelia and her sister, I've seen a few posts from what used to be her in-laws. There's a photo with Ryan, Amelia's sister, and the parents. Everyone's together and the parents look happy. What's weird is that Amelia isn't in that photo, or any other they've posted. So I'm thinking the parents are happy to have Ryan in the family, while Amelia isn't too thrilled about her parents being happy. And I'm happy, because karma is just beautiful.